Howdy, partner. Come on over and sit a spell. I see you got some of them old pictures by my pal Freddie. Did I know him? Did I ever? Was he a real cowboy? I can't say that he was, but sure as shooting, he wanted to be. You see, he was born back in the East. Canton, New York to be exact. Frederic Sackrider Remington. Ain't that a moniker and a half? He was only 2 months old when his daddy left to fight in the Civil War, back in the winter of 1861. A cavalry officer is what his old man found himself being, and a darn good one, too, from what I hear tell. So, it ain't too surprising that when Freddie was growing up, he heard all these old tales of the wild, wild West, and soldiers and Injuns, and told over and over to him by his old man. His daddy made the place sound so exciting. When he'd spun those yarns, that boy believed the Wild West just must be the most thrilling and gall-darn rootin' tootin' place on earth. Now, even as a kid, that boy tried to draw what he imagined all those cowboys and horses looked like. And let me tell you, that kid had a gall-darn good imagination. One of old Freddie's favorite tales was a story his daddy had told about the Battle of the Little Bighorn. Yes, sir, he could see in his mind's eye all them soldiers and Injuns on their horses and how the fight just might have gone down if he'd have been watching. It was then that he decided he just had to quit imagining the characters and the sights and see the West for himself. But his family had other ideas for the boy. They're darn well off and kind of pillars of their community. Now, Freddie was pretty much expected to go to a fancy college and settle down with some pretty young thing and carry on the family name. And he tried to make him happy. He went to Yale University where he played football and studied art. But soon after, his daddy died. And old Fred decided book learning weren't for him, and he headed out to Montana to get his first look at the Old West. I believe that was back in 1881. Now, I hear tell he even took up ranching in Kansas for a while, but he's no good at it at all. What he was good at was drawing and painting the pictures of the sights and characters all around him. Harper's Weekly, a fancy magazine back east, got a peek at some of his work and hired him on the spot to illustrate the stories they were running about cowboys and Indians out there in God's country. I got to tell you right here and now that what Freddie painted was pretty much a combination of his Wild West fantasies and what he really saw. Pretty soon all them city folks took his pictures to be the absolute gospel truth of the way the West was, whether it was or not. But to his credit, the boy knew that his Wild West was going to be slipping away really soon. He'd seen the signs. The railroad was coming, and that meant the country would never be the same. The only way to keep things the way they was to put them in pictures. He figured to make a recording of things he saw so even kids like you would know what his world used to look like. It was Freddie's old buddy Teddy Roosevelt once said, "Through Remington's efforts, the lost era of the American West will endure forever. The soldier, the cowboy and rancher, the Indian, the horses, and the cattle of the plains will live in his bronzes. I verily believe for all times." Freddie did his best to leave us a record of the way it was. It wasn't just the magazines neither. He got better and better at his craft, and he branched out from painting and illustrations into doing sculptures. Why, he even took up writing his Wild West stories that he illustrated himself. All in all, he left us about 3,000 different artworks. After the turn of the century, old Fred was convinced that his West was dead, and he painted fancy memories of what he once knew. He even started to experiment with that there impressionistic style that was all the rage of the arts of the day. Can't say how it would have turned out though. At the age of 48, poor old Fred was dead. He had an appendix attack and died. Now I figure he's up in heaven on a rip-snorting horse, leading the cavalry troops up the side of some old mountain. Maybe he's sitting around a cowboy campfire, spinning yarns and tall tales with the other cowpokes. Or could be he's exploring a great and beautiful land with a band of Indians at his side. Yes, sir. If heaven's all it's cracked up to be, old Freddie will be a true cowboy of his American West for all eternity.
Most of us spend our lives trying to figure out what's right. We're trying to get to heaven so we can sit on God's side. Some people, I'm not for certain, are gonna make it that far. If only there was a test so we could be for sure. Oh, have they gone to heaven? I sure would like to know. Yeah, have they gone to heaven? I sure would like to know. I sure would like to know.